If you're a guy between the ages of 15 and 30 and you feel a bit directionless, a bit confused about what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to act, and how to find meaning in life when everything is so loud and contradictory, then this video is for you. If you feel like your day-to-day existence is simply just going through the motions and wandering around aimlessly, then I think that this will help you quite a bit. This is a conversation about being a proper man, about finding yourself, finding your purpose, and making the world a better place through your actions. It's about connecting with other people, feeling good, and realizing what it actually means to be a man. In order to do this, you need to completely drop everything you know about the concept of masculinity. There are a bunch of people on the internet who spout out what they believe to be a real man. You have to open doors for women, make sure your wife is a stay-at-home wife and be the breadwinner of the family, chop down trees with your bare hands, drive a $2 million car, start fires, go to the gym and get jacked, and all sorts of other superficial garbage. Masculinity has somehow become a term to describe how good you are at signaling your desirability to women, and it genuinely has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with whether you watch anime or boxing, whether your hobbies are hunting or board games, or whether you're into women or something else. It's completely unrelated to all of those things. But somehow, social media influencers and red pill creators have made us believe that the entire concept of masculinity is this weird, toxic topic where you have to pay attention to everything you do, put on a show, and pretend like you're Ernest Hemingway, living on a sailboat, smoking cigars, and catching sharks. You either need to flaunt your masculinity to the world or completely hide it and pretend like it doesn't exist. And there's really no in between. The whole thing is kind of taboo now. The point of this video is to make it more normalized. And if you can give me until the end of this video, I think I can change your perspective on a few things. And I don't want to waste any of your time, so let's dive into it right away. When I talk about becoming a proper man, it's essential that I clarify what I mean. The term proper man isn't about adhering to traditional or outdated stereotypes of masculinity. It's not about being a certain type of man that society expects you to be. Instead, it's about being a man who's true to himself, who contributes positively to the world, and who embodies qualities that make him a good person. Being a proper man has nothing to do with achieving some idealized version of historical masculinity. It's about being authentic, responsible, and compassionate. It's about embracing your unique strengths and weaknesses and using them to make a positive impact in your community and in the lives of those around you. And before I dive into these things, I need to talk about the difference between masculine and feminine energies. Unlike a lot of people say, these things have nothing to do with gender and are instead present in everyone. And frankly, we could change the names of these altogether and it basically means the same thing. We can call it Energy 1 and Energy 2 if you don't want to use the other labels, but for the sake of this video, we'll stick with how it's usually presented. Masculine energy is often associated with action, structure, and logic, while feminine energy is linked to intuition, creativity, and nurturing qualities. These things aren't mutually exclusive, and as you will soon see, my argument is that you need all of these things at the same time to be a proper man, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Historical gender roles and online stereotypes aside, masculine energy and feminine energy need each other to exist. Eastern philosophies like the concept of yin and yang beautifully illustrate how these energies react in relation to each other. Yin represents the feminine, characterized by receptivity and fluidity, while yang symbolizes the masculine, marked by action and expansion. This dualism isn't just about opposites, it's about complementary forces that need each other to create balance and harmony in life. Just as nature requires both day and night, we benefit from balancing our masculine and feminine energies to achieve personal harmony and fulfillment. So our definition of being a proper man isn't about embracing your masculine qualities and ignoring your feminine ones like everyone else says. It's about finding your own path, being true to yourself, and contributing positively to the world around you. And there are some specific traits that you need to develop in order to find this balance to become a proper man. First of all, you need to have a vision for your life. In our modern world, there are a lot of distractions that make you think you want different things. One day, you may want to quit your job and start your own business, and the next day, you may want to live off-grid in a cabin. The next day, you may want to work your way up in your job and get more benefits like health insurance and retirement accounts. One day, you may want to become a streamer, and the next day, you may want to own a coffee shop. We have so much stuff competing for our attention on a daily basis that we never really know what our vision is. We may see some idealized version of someone else's life online and determine that this is what we want to work towards, but the second that we see someone else's life that looks just as desirable, we decide that we want that one instead. There's just too much stimulation and too many influences on our lives, and the way that modern culture moves along makes it so that we can never actually have a clear vision of our future. A vision shouldn't be a specific picture of yourself in your head. I don't consider standing in your Beverly Hills mansion making coffee while your wife is feeding the kids and you're sweeping the floors while your chef makes you breakfast to be a vision of yourself. That's basically just romanticizing Hollywood's perception of the ideal life. But is that what you really want? The reason we all feel directionless is because we are. If we don't know the vision, then we don't know which direction to go in. Sure, it's never clear how exactly to achieve a specific vision, but most of the time, let's be honest, we don't even have a vision to begin with. So I recommend grabbing a journal or starting an online document to track this stuff to give you some clarity in life. I use an online journal called Day One, and it's free, so feel free to look into it if that's your thing. But find somewhere to write this down because it's crucial to know your vision before we proceed with the rest of this conversation. And if you need help finding some of this stuff out, I have a Discord linked in the description. It's a really solid, friendly community that is Minecraft-oriented, but also self-help-oriented. So we have a Minecraft server that's exclusively for members of the Discord, but we also have some channels for people who want to talk about topics like these. So if that's something you're interested in, consider joining using the link in the description. And if you enjoyed this conversation or the others on the channel, you can support the channel by visiting my Buy Me a Coffee page, linked below as well. Everyone who becomes a monthly supporter on this page gets some exclusive Discord perks, as well as some perks in the Minecraft server, so it's one big ecosystem, and I think it'd be a lot of fun to have you there. Now, to figure out your vision, you need to think about a few things. What do you want in life? Where do you want to see yourself in 5 to 10 years? What type of person do you want to be? What are 5 things that you would be upset with yourself about if you didn't achieve them or do them before you die? If you had infinite money, what would you do with your free time? Answer these questions and it could help you to figure out your vision. You're not going to be able to do this just off the rip, so start thinking about it and it'll probably take some time. But the more questions you can answer, the more clarity you can have about what you want later in life. And honestly, if you're like me, you probably aren't even able to answer that question fully. Developing a vision takes a lot of time, and it's something that I haven't even been able to do yet, even as the person who's making this video to teach you how to do it. Yeah, I know, I'm being a hypocrite. Because really, what have I done? What real experience do I have with the world? Sure, I may have an idea of what I think I know, but even I, the guy who's making these videos, still doesn't know much. Nobody really knows much. People just communicate what they think they know. So the second step in becoming a proper man is to test and try things to experience as much of the world as possible. It's pretty hard to develop that vision for your future life if you don't know what the options are. Sure, you can find those potential options based on what everybody's signaling online and what looks cool on social media, but you really need to experience things to understand what you want and what you don't want. For example, I used to think I wanted to live in a big city because the scene and all the cool new things happening on a weekly basis seemed extremely exciting. But after living in a decent-sized city for a bit, I realized that it's not exactly what I want. I honestly want some space in the countryside with a garden, some cows, and breathing room where I could hear nature every morning and wake up to the sun shining through my windows. This is something that I never would have imagined if I didn't actually move to a city and realize that the noise drives me crazy, that other people are sometimes exhausting, and that I don't have a lot of room to think when everything around me is so chaotic. I couldn't have just read a book about that. I couldn't have read Walden by Henry David Thoreau and just assumed that living away from other people is what I wanted. It took that experience of living in a city to learn that one minor point about my future vision. Now I know that my future vision includes having some land and some space of my own for my future family. But again, I wouldn't have figured that out unless I actually experienced living in a city and realized that I didn't like it as much as I thought I would. And this goes across the board too. You can assume so many things about your future self, but until you actually have the experiences to back up those things, you're never truly going to know if that's what you want or not. And it would suck to work really hard towards something for your entire life just to realize that you didn't actually want it the whole time. So experience as many things as possible. Say yes to things that you otherwise wouldn't. Meet new people that you would never speak to if you knew who they were before you spoke to them. Try new hobbies, explore new areas, and don't close off conversations that make you uncomfortable. Talk about them. You may actually end up being more interested in a topic than you initially thought. It's about getting experience, and this experience, the second step in your journey to becoming a proper man, is crucial to building that vision that we talked about before. And with this vision, another piece of advice is that the vision shouldn't solely focus on your career. We've become so conditioned to believe that our career is our life, that if we have to change careers later in life, our actual life is over. But careers aren't as important as we think. Did you know that one of the most common things that people say they regret on their deathbed is working too much and missing out on time with family and friends? Seriously, this is one of the most common things that people say when they're dying and leaving the world. Could you imagine how terrible that must feel? That in your fleeting moments, you determined that everything you did, everything you focused on for the majority of your life, wasn't even important. So it's crucial to include other aspects of your existence into this future plan for yourself. It shouldn't be solely financial or career focused. That Beverly Hills mansion that you dreamed about earlier wouldn't be too great if you were in it alone for the rest of your life, with no interactions, no friends, and no company. This ties in with point number 3, contributing to something that is bigger than oneself. I ultimately think that the reason so many people feel lost and directionless in modern society is because we no longer focus on anything other than ourselves. I understand that this could be looked at as a self-improvement video, but I think self-improvement is a tool to get to where you need to be to give positively to the world. If you feel terrible about yourself, you're not going to be giving positively to the world. So you at least need to eventually feel good about yourself before you can do that. But indulging in self-improvement infinitely is going to result in a worse outcome than if you never started it to begin with, because all you're doing is stroking your own ego, worrying about you as an individual, and ignoring society as a whole. Ultimately, you are not the most important thing in your life. If that was the case, everyone on that deathbed would have zero regrets when they died. Maybe their only regret would be not improving themselves enough. But that doesn't even make sense because at the end of the day, all of that self-improvement is going to result in nothing if you don't use the skills you learn to make the world a better place. If you improve yourself, your personality, your work ethic, and all this other stuff, and then die alone without sharing any of this information with anyone else, then you've done nothing. You might as well just play World of Warcraft 24 hours a day for your entire life. So to become a proper man, you need to contribute to something larger than just you. Whether that's now or whether that's in the future, once you learn more about yourself, you have to do it at some point and incorporate it into your future vision. Now, specifics as to how you can contribute to the world outside of yourself could be an entire video, but some quick ideas are things like volunteer projects that objectively improve other people's quality of life, joining a church or something similar to spread a message that you care about with the world, raising a family, improving your community, or simply making another person smile. The point is, you gotta put some form of positive energy out into the world to contribute to something bigger than yourself. And if you just stay in a little bubble, never talk to anyone, and avoid interactions with other humans, avoid uncomfortable conversations, avoid learning new skills or exploring new ideas, then there's really no point in trying to improve. There's really no point in watching this video. So think about that when you plan out your ideal future. At the end of the day, you're gonna wanna find something more than just you, so keep that in mind from the start. And if you're struggling to find other people to interact with and talk about things like this, again, consider joining the Discord linked in the description. I don't want to sound annoying like I'm constantly trying to plug this place, but the community over there has been truly amazing, and I do want to say thank you to everyone who's been involved. I really feel like we're building something together that can create a positive change in the world, so if you want to be involved with the mission, I hope to see you there, and I appreciate the support, and I'll stop yapping about that now and get back to the point of this video. So far, we've said 3 things. 1, have a plan. 2, gain experience in life. And 3, contribute to something bigger than yourself. These are the first 3 things that you have to do in order to become a proper man. And again, none of these things are going to happen overnight. This whole conversation is a slow process that's going to take years to work on, but working towards it is crucial to finding fulfillment and purpose in life. Even the general idea of trying to figure out what your plan is counts enough as a plan to give you some direction. See my point? But we're nowhere near finished because now we need to talk about consistent work over time. Whether it's self-improvement, your career, or something random like woodworking or learning Spanish, consistent effort over time is the answer to a lot of problems that you're going to experience in life. If you want to become a better version of yourself, then you're going to need to put in consistent effort over time. You're not going to be more mindful, be less anxious, be friendlier, or be more self-aware with 1 week of practice. You're not going to learn a new skill in a few days. You're not going to be able to confidently talk to other people overnight after watching a few YouTube videos. So remember that almost anything worth having takes consistent effort over time. Again, this does align with the vision because whatever your vision is will require the same consistent effort over time principle, but it really does work with everything. These days, we're so pressured to have everything we want right now, with instant gratification, instant fulfillment, instant wealth, and instant purpose. You're probably pressuring yourself right now about instantly being able to sit down and come up with your vision for your future that I talked about earlier. And that's the issue. So just remember that consistent effort over time is how you solve pretty much all of your problems. Don't try to overwork yourself, don't try to overpressure yourself, but remember that good things take time and great things will probably take years. A solid, good relationship that's going to last forever is going to take years of growth and hardship together. A business that can support you and keep you financially stable is going to take years of mental stress and anguish. A successful YouTube channel is going to take years to build. I make a negligible amount of money from this channel, and sometimes I hardly get any views on my videos, but I really don't care. My point here is to make this content to get it out into the world and hopefully help change lives. So I don't care about the growth of this channel, and I don't care about chasing video topics that I think are going to do well. I care about the consistent effort over time that I'm putting into this, and about sharing my thoughts in the clearest and most concise, helpful way possible. And if you could have the mentality of being patient with yourself and putting in consistent work over time, you're going to take yet another step towards becoming a proper man. Basically, anything of value is going to require this, so you really need to ingrain it in your brain to make sure you understand that your results are probably not going to happen tomorrow, or the next day, or the day after that. And this also aligns with the mission and vision that we discussed earlier, because eventually you're going to have to take steps to achieve that vision. So start now and be patient with yourself. The best example I heard is this. If you're building a railroad and you go down the line, step by step, hitting one railroad tie one time each, by the time you get to the end of the track, none of the railroad ties are going to be fully hammered in at all. They're going to be partially in, and you've practically made no progress because a train can still not go on these tracks safely. But if you focus on hitting one over and over until it's done, and move on to the next one, you will move slower down the line, but you will actually be making progress. And this is how you should treat your goals. These things will help you achieve your master vision of your life, but there are also a few traits that I believe you should have as a man in order to make this journey as smooth as possible and to give yourself the highest chance of success. The first of which is realizing that everything in life has trade-offs. We're so pressured these days to do everything, develop a diverse set of interests, and maximize life. I even just told you that you need to gain more life experiences. But you also need to realize that it's genuinely impossible to do it all, and that everything you do requires giving up something else. You may think that you could work just a little bit harder to achieve all of your goals, but if you work more hours, you're probably giving up sleep or health or personal relationships. Taking one career path makes you give up another. Dating one girl is giving up other options. You have to remember this when proceeding on your vision journey to make sure that you're making the right decisions. In my opinion, your personal, mental, and physical health should be before everything, and if you focus too much on other things, you may be giving up this health. And this health is what you need to complete your mission of spreading positivity and making the world a better place. Because if you're bedridden with poor mental health, you're not going to be able to do that. And you also are not going to be able to do that if you don't respect authority. Respecting authority is something that will help you on your journey to become a proper man, and here's why. Because of how individualistic our society is these days, people have developed genuinely zero respect for authority. It's pretty common to see people stealing stuff from stores, being rude to old people, driving like a madman and ignoring traffic laws, and putting other people down to make themselves feel better about themselves. Authority is considered bad in 2025, and it's expected that everyone makes their own rules without caring what other people think. And personally, I believe that you really should respect authority to become a proper man. If you ignore people who are in positions of power entirely because you think you're better than them, you're setting yourself up for disaster. Respect people unless they've given you a reason not to, not the other way around. And the world will feel easier to navigate, and you'll feel a lot less toxic and be a much happier person. And most importantly of all, to tie all of this together, you need tenacity. People don't really have tenacity anymore because everything is handed to us. Our food is given to us through Uber Eats, our dating experience through online apps, and our entertainment through streaming platforms. Because of how easy the everyday experience has become for the average person, nobody has the willpower to endure things, and they give up extremely easily. I've seen so many people I know give up on their dreams because they didn't achieve them in a month or a year. And extending your time frame, like I mentioned earlier, to achieve your ideal life requires tenacity. Your North Star should guide you, regardless of your external circumstances, and as long as you focus on this, you should be able to achieve everything you've ever wanted. And these are my thoughts on how to become a proper man. I probably missed some things, so if you have any questions or thoughts on things that I should have discussed, consider leaving a comment below. I'm promising you right now, this channel will never accept sponsors, so if you'd like to support the mission and make these videos possible, consider supporting through the Buy Me a Coffee page in the description. Again, all monthly supporters get a ton of special perks, and the caffeine helps me make these videos. I hope you enjoyed the conversation, and we will talk again soon.